he sells more fishing rods than anybody in the country, and he calls them a pole.
Hey,
Hey,
thanks for promoting the heck out of fishing and fishing rods.
well, you do.
And Bass Pro Shop.
Bass Pro Shop, they do. They sell more fishing. They sell more poles than anybody.
Man, the happy thing, Bill, is after the virus, you know how many all the kids buying little push-button rods and reels and little Zebcos and everything. It's pretty amazing, isn't it? Many future fishermen.
You do. You promote it well. You promote conservation fishing better than anybody I know.
No, you're the man on that, but it's just great. If there's a blessing from the virus, like everybody, especially kids, getting into fishing more and more, everything outside.
You know, I've got this bait over here by the pier. I think about fishing snook around the pier. And I remember the first time I tried that, I think I'd land 1 for every 10 that would hit it. I think the first time I ever fished for snook, we fished piers. And you'd flip it up under there and want to go boom, and you'd go boom, psh, pop.
I used to do that with old Jim Bagley
Yeah.
and Lee Sisson. You remember him?
Yeah.
He loved to do that.
Old Jim, I miss him. He was such a great
He was a
guy.
character of fishing, wasn't he?
Oh, he was a great guy.
He was a promoter.
I remember we were in Canada one time, and we went down and we were fishing the St. Lawrence River, and we went down to I guess it was the St. Lawrence River flows into Lake Erie or Superior.
Lake Erie, I think.
Yeah, one of them, and it was too rough, so we came back and we were just going to fish for smallmouth in the St. Lawrence, and he said, stop. And I stopped. He said, pull over here. You like ice cream sandwiches? And I said, yeah. He said, let me run in here and get us a few. He came out with 12, a box of 12. And he says, I said, what are we going to do with them? He said, got to eat them fast, they'll melt. And so I ate one. I was eating it so fast, my eyes started hurting. You know how you get that brain freeze? And I ate one. He said, eat another one, eat it fast. They're melting. I ate 3 of them, and he ate 9 of them before we got back to the hotel, or back to Alexandria Bay where we were fishing. And I said, how many are left? He said, how many did you eat? I said, 3. He said, they're gone. And I said, you eat 9? He said, yeah. He was shoveling them in his mouth. You know how Jim was.
Yeah, what a character. So one time, you know, we sold those Bagley Balsa Bees. They were red hot.
Yeah.
And after the Big O, it was his version of that. So they're pretty expensive. Back in the day, you know, like $5.95 a plug or something. That was a lot of money. Customers are complaining the little plastic bill was chipping off and breaking.
Yeah.
So I called Jim. I said, Jim, got a real problem with these Big O's. Balsa Bees, lips on the bills, they're breaking off.
Those Lexan lips, yeah.
Yeah, and I said, they're breaking off. People are upset because they cost so much. He said, what happens when they break one off? Don't you sell another one? I said, well, he said, do you really want me to fix that?
You sell more. Yeah, he was. I can hear him now. I loved him to death. He was a great sponsor. I remember we were promoting the DB3 and the deep diving 3. Yep. I went into his office one time and he said, hey pal. And I said, I need to get some DB3s. He said, Wayne didn't tell you? You remember Wayne was
yes.
And Sisson was his lure designer. And he said, we're going to discontinue that bait. And I said, what? And he said, yeah, we're going to discontinue the DB3. And I said, oh no, Jim. I've got 3 shows I've shot on the Tennessee River catching largemouth and smallmouth on that bait for next year. He said, you do? And he said, well, maybe we'll just we'll advertise it, we'll just do special orders. If you order 25 dozen, we'll keep it in the line. I said, oh man, well, I want to order 100 dozen right now. He said, are you serious? I said, I want to order 100 dozen of them. Well, the next year, we did the 3 shows, and the following year, he put it on the front cover of his catalog. That's a true story.
Oh man, that's great. I thought he was going to tell you had to go fish again.
No, we did.
Scrap those shows.
The following year, he put it on the front cover of his catalog. The DB.
Man, met some remarkable characters we met through
Oh, isn't it?
time in fishing, huh, Betty?
Oh, we have.
And the fishing tackle trade show, man, so many. I kind of miss the early days with like Tom Mann and his jelly worms and all the booths you'd go to where the founder of the company'd be in there.
Yeah.
Lou Childress, so many pioneers, innovators, characters.
And then Fred Young and the Big O. You remember that craze?
Yeah.
Fred
Totally.
was a great guy. And Bill Norman. And I just look back over the years. Cotton
Stan
Cordell.
Sloan, yeah, Cotton Cordell.
Yeah. I love Cotton. I worked for Cotton for several years, and he was Nick Cream. You know, Nick was another great one.
Burke.
Huh?
Remember, he used to be with Burke.
Yeah, put a
Put a
Burke.
Burke where they lurk.
You remember that?
Yeah,
Put a
kid.
Burke where they lurk.
And
Yeah. Old Bing McClellan, he was a great guy.
and Lou Childress, I remember he'd be walking down the booth aisle at the trade show or fishing shackle show. Johnny, come in here. And he'd have all the competitors' rods, and he'd have his.
Yeah.
Had all the guys from Japan, their smocks, like engineers. He said, Johnny, grab any competitor's rod, and he'd have a big winch with a scale on it and said, crank this rod to 10 pounds and then go slow. So you crank, then you get a couple more pounds. He said, where are these goggles? And the rods would just splinter, and the whole floor of his booth was just broken rods everywhere. He said, now take one of my speed sticks and just crank it to 20 before you ever stop. He said, you won't break this rod. But there's a lot of showmen. You don't see quite so many anymore.
You know, you think about. You remember Shag Shayhead?
Yes.
He had his arm looked like a little, like a smoked ham. You know, it was so strong. Well, no one could beat him arm wrestle. And one night I went up at the tackle show. I went up in Lou's Children's Suite, and all the Japanese were standing around patting Shag on the back because of his, you getting a bite?
No, I'm just going to be ready.
And he was so strong, and so I kind of leaned over and winked at him, and all these Japanese guys were standing around. They were drinking sake or whatever they drank, and I said, Shag, let me beat you arm wrestling. And so I sat down at the table. Shag was there. I said, so we started arm wrestling, and all the Japanese kind of got behind Shag, and they were going, and they were patting him on the back. And so we got there, and we went like this, and Shag got my arm and just about got it down, and they were going, patting him on the back, and I went, and I started up, and they were going, oh, and I got him over, and I got his arm like this, and they were going, oh, and then he got me over here, and they went, and then I went, and they went, oh, and boom, I pinned him. And they all ran around on my side of the table with, and they were on my side. And Shag said, okay, let's do it again now. And I said, you crazy? And they were all patting me, and wherever I walked, they were walking behind me. They thought I was a kingpin then. But Shag, I'll never forget him. He was just a great guy. And he'd do those trick casting, you remember?
Yes, absolutely.
He could flip a dummy plug in a teacup from here to the middle of the river out there. But it was some good times.
Well, we'll be there again next week, huh? The big fishing show, ICAST.
Yeah, it's scheduled. I've been going to those things for 312 years, and I've seen so many changes. Our industry's really changed. People say, what have you seen? What have you seen in the industry? I said, I've seen major changes. It goes from one extreme to the other. I look at who's been there and who's not going to be there, and I look. Mark Sosin won't be there, and he's been a big part of it. Ray Scott won't be there, and he's been a big part of it. I'm going to tell you right.
That was a beautiful letter you shared with me that Ray sent you.
Oh, it was a
I
great
was looking
letter.
when he passed at some of the letters we exchanged. And what a man. We wouldn't be in this boat, without him. No doubt.
The industry wouldn't be where it is today. If
Absolutely not.
If it hadn't have been for Ray.
Yeah, remember old buddy Osco?
Yeah.
Help us get started.
Yes, sir.
He was a merchant now.
He was a good one. Well, I look back at the good ones.
Yeah, the industry has changed a lot. Many advancements in technology and quality of gear.
Absolutely.
Everywhere you measure it. I kind of miss some of the early, just the proprietors themselves, or guys that started their lure company, rod company, being right there in the booth, and getting to meet them and know them.
You've made them. You've made a lot of them, Johnny. You really have.
No, we're both blessed to be part of a great, I hate to even use the word industry, but part of a lifestyle of fishing in the country. It's how lucky are we? And like you said, it's Ray Scott, man. It's how we got to know each other, and the impact he had on inspiring, giving people the opportunity to start a bait company or have a TV show or bait shop, whatever. I mean, that guy put the world on fire with his ability to promote.
Just think about it. Just look at the guys that we know, that we grew up with. Our friendship goes back over 50 years. And when we started out, look at the guys that I know I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today had it not been for Ray. Look at Tom. Of course, Tom's gone now, but Tom, Man Bait Company. Look at Jimmy Houston. Look at
Forest Wood, Ranger Boat Company.
There's
on.
one prime example. He kick-started so many careers, and look at the industry. Goodness gracious, you just said forest, but I look at the trolling motor companies, look at the depth finder companies, look at the line companies, the hook companies, the rod companies, the reel companies.
And conservation.
Oh,
Ray
absolutely.
was pretty far-sighted. Safety, like life vests, kill switches for engines and bass boats, and then conservation. He was pretty big. The aerated live wells, and that was just the beginning. But remember all of his catch and release programs he had, Free to Fire, and he's he was very visionary.
He was a jokester, but he was a smart cookie.
And the ultimate promoter.
Absolutely.
I mean, the mystery tours for trips for the Bassmaster Classic. Flybert made you get up and dance with a hula skirt on.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember. I don't know. Pam was there. Diane was there with you doing that.
Diane was there. She was actually.
And who else? But he had a couple of you guys up there. But that mystery, we'd all get to New Orleans, and then we'd go, and just a big promotion. Only bring 10 pounds of tackle, and you have to weigh your tackle and sort out your favorite gear you wanted to bring, and get on that plane, and then he'd open up the envelope and get everybody to guess where we were going. Had the boats traveling at night, mystery. Nobody could practice ahead or know where we were going.
He'd even talk to the pilots. The plane we'd be on a big Delta jet, and it'd fly out, and it would veer out to the west, and we said, we're going west. We're going west. And you'd look, and you'd fly over wherever you'd fly. You'd say, oh, we're flying over Texas. We're flying over Texas. And all of a sudden, the plane would veer. Oh, we're going north now. We're going up, maybe up in Missouri. We're going to Table Rock. Oh, yeah, that's where we're going. Now it's veering to the right. No, we're going to Santee Cooking. And then all of a sudden it'd make a U-turn. Oh, we're going to Lake Lanier. And then the plane would it veer. I guess air traffic control thought the pilot was drunk. It was. And then all of a sudden the plane would turn, and we didn't know where we were going. We get in a cloud bank, and everybody was trying to guess the lake we were going. It was a mystery lake, remember?
Yeah, it was great. And I also remember what a promoter to have. Like he'd invite 50 of the top outdoor riders or press.
Oh yeah.
And they had the adventure too. They'd all go to New Orleans, get on the plane with us, and nobody knows where we're headed. But he was that spread the word everywhere around the country, having all the press that he could realize how important that was.
Oh yeah. Could he promote? Golly, he could promote.
Riding elephants around. Showman.
Ray was a great one. Pick up the phone and call the President of the United States. Yeah, this is Ray Scott. I need to talk to the President. Hang on just a minute, Mr. Scott. Hello, Mr. President. Ray Scott. Pretty good, buddy. How you doing? Just talk to him like he was next door to him.
Man, I thought I was going to have somebody on my line here. Not the President, but a nice fish. One breathed on it a minute ago.
Well, I'll tell you what. Your dad, John A., we were walking together. Are you and the President, or President Bush, first time I ever had a president just walk up and say, hey, will you sign my hat? You remember that day?
Yes, yeah, the first World Fishing Fair, I believe he came by there.
He put his hat there and said, "Can I get you to sign my hat, Bill?" And I said, "In your name?" And so the Secret Service, they looked at me like, "That's not very cute." We had some good times, Peter. I guarantee you.
Some good stories.
We've had a good. Johnny and I have known each other for over 50 years.
A long time for kids.
Yeah, absolutely, buddy. We fished everywhere from Mexico to Canada to we fished for puddle perch to tarpon to smallmouth to.
Big groupers, tarpon, sailfish.
I saved his life. A grouper almost drowned him one time.
That's a true story.
Remember that?
Yeah, I was 3/4 of the way out. And
Yeah, he was
grabbed me
hanging
and said, "Get
on
your
the
skinny
back
little
of the
butt
boat,
back
though.
in
He
here."
was
I
going.
cleaned it up, yeah.
I love both you guys. You know that.
We love you
Thank
too,
you
buddy.
so much. Thank you.